You know, a lot of people have not too nice of things to say about Dirge of Cerberus. That the game never should have been made, ruined Final Fantasy VII, sucks donkey dick. I don't really agree with any of that except maybe the first part. It didn't need to be made, and Crisis Core didn't either. But many agree Crisis Core is a good game. Dare I even say, pretty good? Even with all the clone nonsense and everything Genesis ever said or did.
No way. He just ate my hair.
Your cells will be my gift of the goddess. The degradation will cease.
It still did a great job of giving more context to a side character that we didn't know much about. Like, did you know he was from Gungaga?
Me? Gungaga. Hey, what's so funny about that?
And I think Dirge does the exact same thing I praise Crisis Core for. The game takes place 3 years after Final Fantasy VII and a year after Advent Children, but Vincent's a haunted man, and despite the horrible situation he found himself in during present day, his story is about him fighting his past. This game is his backstory. It's easy to point at him and call him brooding or other shit that X-Play said.
Dirge of Cerberus is pretty much Devil May Cry gone retarded.
But like most characters in base Final Fantasy VII, he's so caught up in the then that he can't focus on the now. And he never got his moment to confront his past and come out on the other side, like Barrett with Coral or Red 13 did in the Cave of the Gi. Sure, he's hopped into battle 3 times now because the planet was in danger, but he has nothing to fight for. Hojo's dead, but his unrequited love turned into a crystal. And he never got answers to his past, so he lost all agency and just flowed along life, hanging out in the cuck cave whenever he's not on fighting duty. That was a lot of shit I just said that basically boils down to Vincent is cool, and I was 10 when this game came out, so I have a very strong attachment to it. Plus Sid is in it. That starts it out at like a 3 out of 5. So why is the name of the video the Final Fantasy VII Killer? Clickbait now, but I was a little harsher in a previous script, but I sounded like a whiner because it isn't like this game is a 1 out of 5 or anything. Despite all the glazing, I do acknowledge this game has issues.
There are no records of this place located deep beneath the Shinra building, another of the company's secrets revealed recently.
Deepground is stupid. Or lame, whatever I said in the fucking chapter title. An example of coming up with something out of nowhere to justify a sequel, then dropping the ball completely on actually justifying adding something. And the plot contrivances it pulls out is like playing rock, paper, scissors, then your friend busts out Atomic Bomb and says it beats everything. Even rock, paper, and scissors combined, which is bullshit. When someone says this game sucks, it's probably because they remembered Deepground and dug their fingernails into their thighs in response. Deepground was supposed to be a place first and foremost for injured soldier members, but the program was shifted into a secret force of soldiers who wouldn't question a single order because of the human experimentation done onto them. It was controlled by Mr. Shinra himself, and the only others allowed to know about its existence were the other top Shinra executives, like Mistress Scarlet, Sir Heidegger, and the Honorable Lord Dr. Professor Hojo, Esquire. Poor Rufus Shinra didn't know about them, but what can you expect? He was only the first, second generation Shinra hire. Deepground was basically a secret police force that could be thrown at a problem and hopefully it would solve itself. And if some Deepground died, then fucking oh well. Now why didn't Shinra or an executive throw these guys at Sephiroth? Because they weren't thought of yet. Most extended Final Fantasy VII media takes place either before or after 7, and hardly ever messes with the lore of the game besides adding context, remakes aside. Sure, the existence of Advent Children and Dirge of Cerberus negates how powerful and somber the ending of 7 can be, as you aren't really sure of the fate of humanity. So Dirge doesn't conflict with 7's story directly, but if they had these guys, why were they spending their time with the stupid-ass Turks or the fucking Shinra infantry? Were they stupid? Sometime during or before the original Final Fantasy story, Deepground and their elite force named Sviets were fighting for their lives all day against other evil soldiers named the Restrictors. The Restrictors couldn't be attacked because of a chip in the Deepground soldiers' heads that forbade all aggression towards them, but one lucky soldier turned Sviet, who was never given a chip, ended up fighting against and eventually killing the top Restrictor, and then died from a very tragic sword and chest accident. But he only fought the Restrictors because another Sviet was feeding his brain full of false memories, to make his crusade a personal one instead of helping this anime guy come out on top. Then the meteor from Final Fantasy VII hits Shinra building, it fucks up everything and traps them all underground. Deep underground. This isn't told in the main campaign, by the way. This is from the Japanese-only multiplayer mode. This sucks. Not that you really need to know this before going into the campaign, but it gives you a different view of the main enemy, even a bit empathetic if you can get past all of the insane murder. But English speakers will not get this, and therefore the game is just, oh, I beat the bad guys, yay, I love you, Vincent. Turns out some people are just evil and there's no such thing as nature versus nurture, yay, I love my black and white world. I hate to shit on this Fiat so much because the story is at its best when they're on the screen. It's the only time any meaningful character moments happen besides Vincent's flashbacks, but a few of those are caused by Fiat intervention anyway. Plus, the official CG renders of these characters are fucking good looking, man. Nomura, I mean this. You are a great designer and I love your work. Look at Rosso, dude. Just look. But don't look at Shulk, she's technically 9 years old. And when you actually get into the boss battles with them, oh yeah, I feel like I'm gaming. Shulk, Azul, Rosso, Nero, Vice. None of them are very interesting on their own when all they do is prattle on about doomsday plans.
We could care less what happens to the planet.
However, I feel like what they lack in individual interest is made up for by how they make context for the story. And that context kind of just boils down to, holy shit, dude, Shinra sucks more and more every time I learn something about them. Please just get rid of everything Shinra related. Maybe there could be more room for Sviet nuance in the main story, if it wasn't for the fact that the only time you saw Deepground, they were capturing civilians and killing infantrymen of the world's only semi-competent peacekeeping force. With this, I just feel nothing towards them, even with revelations later in the game where it's basically outright stated that they were manipulated. But what about the story? Is it sauced? Goated? Well, we'll get to that eventually, but it's got intrigue and I'll give Dirge that for sure. It can keep a mystery going and I was really wanting to know what would be the next story beat anytime a cutscene started. And the game itself starts out super strong. Deepground strikes the City of Calm during a festival and they're horrifyingly efficient. Before Vincent can make it through even their most basic of troops, they've already set up storage containers to kidnap townspeople and put the local forces in defensive positions immediately. Like any main character, Vincent is the only person who can make any progress in the city, but I don't blame the random NPCs with minimal training or combat experience for not doing too much here. It's like Sarajevo. And these CG cutscenes are so fucking cool though, the best part of the game. If Square could make Final Fantasy movies on par or better than Advent Children, they should just switch to that. Just super crazy good visuals here, even on an older console like the PS2. It's not too compressed and has really high fidelity. Impressive. I love you CG cutscenes. Come here. Immediately after gaining control of Vincent though, you experience 2006 forum poster gripes. It's the gameplay.
Time to die.
I can deal with a story that isn't too great, but a 3D action level-based third-person shooter with a shitty stealth segment to boot? Seriously, the stealth part sucks dick. I'm a little kitty cat and I got spotted because a mite from my tail jumped off and alerted the guards. I think people back in 2006 couldn't understand a Final Fantasy game that wasn't turn-based. Don't worry about 11. But we live in a post-15, 16, and 7 remake world where Final Fantasy has left the concept of turn-based behind and are trying to focus on its older feudal themes while evolving gameplay to be more of an action game. Dirge May Cry would be the first game in the series to really spread its wings and fly as far away from the old style as possible. But with a light RPG mechanic just so they can put Final Fantasy VII on the box and not feel like they're changing too much. It's an RPG mechanic in the same vein as something like Samurai Western. It's skill-based action, but if you want to do more or take less damage, you can get better equipment or level up. Here's a bit of cross-promotion. I helped Togain with their Samurai Western review script, and the notes I got from them were, hey man, what are you talking about with the difficulty being hard? I chose the most OP weapons and I didn't have any trouble at all. And I guess here's where I find out if they watched this video. Hey Togain, fuck you. I never liked shooters on the PS2 because I never felt like the thumbsticks ever moved at a consistent speed or tracked well. Killzone 1 feels like a pinball machine at times. And maybe Square Enix devs were also really shitty at games because here comes the hand-holding. Auto-aim. You aim generally near an enemy and this red reticle will appear over them. It's not a guaranteed hit, but if you're standing still 5 feet away from them and have enough luck, you'll hit them. Of course, the further away you are, you'll need something to increase the odds. A longer barrel will give you better accuracy but slower fire times. Short barrel means less accuracy and less damage, but you can shoot as fast as you pull the trigger. And a medium barrel either gives you the best or the worst of both. Want to know what the coolest part of the starting Cerberus pistol is? 3 barrels. It is a bit of a monkey's paw though. While it shoots out of all 3 barrels at once, it does expend 3 ammo per shot. When my ammo counter says 18, I automatically think, oh, I can press shoot 18 times, cool. Foolish. 6 times. Not a bullet more. Gonna have to count your shots, man, because if you jump into a group with 9 bullets left, you're gonna have to divide that by 3. Good luck, Gaben. Hate the pistol? Want to miss almost every single shot? Fuck it then. Equip the machine gun. You can put a normal barrel on it. It'll still waste your ammo, but you can do it. The machine gun in Dirge is kind of like the pistol in a Call of Duty game. You switch to it when you either run out of ammo for your main weapon or when you're shitting your pants because someone is running towards you and your primary needs to be reloaded. I use it every now and then, and it is fun to hold down the fire button, which is R1, by the way. What the fuck is this? Red Dead on the PS3? Who the fuck needs accuracy when you're just laying down a hail of hit scan? Although you're going to have to bring some envelopes, because if you're shooting from 20 feet or further, you're just going to have to mail them the bullets. Need to hit someone from a very long distance? Now, this is a secret, okay? I don't know if you know about this, but they put scopes on guns. The rifle is a fantastic way of getting rid of someone who will obviously fuck you up further down the line. A big downside is that you have very few chances to use it to the best of its ability. There is a segment in level 3 where you have to counter snipe these Nevik guys. Some enemies fly, but fucking good luck hitting them even with auto aim. And if you're in close enough distance for that reticle to show up, just switch to the pistol and hit them 3 times for every once that the rifle fires. I don't care if it doesn't do that much damage. My pistol has 3 barrels and therefore way fucking cooler. God, I wish that Trigun game wasn't cancelled. Upgrading weapons in between levels increases and decreases aspects to each weapon. Damage increases, but fire rate decreases. Weapon weight goes down, but so does damage and accuracy. Weirdly enough, the fire rate upgrade path increases both that and it lowers weight, but it doesn't lower anything that would be too detrimental, but it also never gets as powerful as any other upgrade path. And optional accessories can be added to help with damage, weight, accuracy, and magic damage. Magic damage is dealt by materia that you can hang on to the bottom of your gun with a very cute cell phone chain. Genuinely, I only ever used fire materia, pretty much just for the huge damage and explosion that can hit multiple enemies, but there is thunder for stunning and blizzard for freezing. The last 2 probably rule for higher difficulties, but I pump all my stats into whatever has the biggest number and can't care for any positives that aren't an enemy dying as fast as humanly possible. There's also melee. It sucks. 2 fights in a whole game use it as a reliable source of damage, but Vincent's Gucci gauntlets are not for fighting. They are for style and serving cunt. He will not maim with them. Some segments like to break up the flow of real-time Vincent action by having you sit in a turret and shoot at enemies. This time, no auto-aim, so it is a little harder and you do notice the poor aim speed a little more. There are side missions and levels that give you a quick objective to perform, and I like these a lot. Especially this one where you have to cover friendly NPCs until they can deactivate a gate, and this guy will just sit and emote instead of helping. Barrel, do me a quick favor, kill this man. And friendly NPCs join you in a squad in 2 missions total. I would have loved to see this more often, and maybe instead of it being 5 minutes per segment, it could have been the point of the fucking level. But friendly AI sucked, and from what I heard, this game was a little bit of a problem child during development, so it probably just didn't work great. For the most part, you're doing the same things against the same enemies for the majority of the game. There's only minor differences in how you approach different enemies, and it will be either choosing a different weapon or maybe throwing a magic missile at them. The damage they can do isn't insignificant. If you become overextended, now you're being pelted by the hive mind, aka enemies in a PS2 game that suddenly know where you are a second a shot is fired. I see an enemy, I get shot by them 10 times, I kill them, I heal. It's simple. The only encounters I can say are truly memorable would be the boss battles, but I have a really big problem with them. They're just too easy. I did play through all of them on the normal difficulty, but I feel like I should have been challenged at least once. My least favorite of all and worst example of a boss not checking your skills would be the Pegasus Riders. They move in a circle and you shoot them. This boss fight took me 10 seconds from the start to fading into the post-battle cutscene. That feels a little embarrassing. And yeah, that's the worst example, but others test more so your ability to press the healing button or understand a gimmick faster than you can get one shot. I failed that last one. My bad. Strangely, the first boss and end of stage boss of the game might be the most difficult, but that's because you have no upgrades, so you'll be the weakest you'll ever be. Then you fight it again, but underground. The Black Widow is actually pretty fun. Requires a bit of movement from you to avoid attacks that are unfortunately painfully telegraphed. It tanks damage until you do enough to knock it over, then you just unload. If your DPS is consistent, you'll find it very easily beaten, but fun. And then you do it next mission, but they give you a turret so you can just kill it and shoot down the missiles it sends in a matter of moments. Then do it again 3 chapters later. 2 of them. That both do half damage because there's 2. And they don't want to make things too difficult for you, why would they? And don't get me started on the heavy armored soldier, it's just one tough dude with a few extra ads sprinkled in to make the fight a little scary. What I do like are the Sviet fights. The Sviets feel like they actually have mechanics. Shulk will test your ability to fight in close range with a fast opponent, Azul your understanding of melee and magic, but he also tests your patience with dodging an instant transmission bull rush. And Rosso with just how good at recognizing attack patterns you are. Nero's first fight is painfully easy, but he wasn't really trying to kill you here, I think. And his actual fight is hectic, although again, it's easy when you know what to do. His teleport move is slow as shit. I think his fight's benefit is how thematic it is though, and I like this forum's name. It's cute. I don't know, Yuffie, kill this guy for me. Vice feels like he's back to the basics. Beat the shit out of his human form and then he turns into a supreme being. It's JRPG 101. His fight is multi-staged, starting out easy and ending with a real battle. But despite how much I actually like this fight and his desperation meteor he just pulls out of nowhere, say it with me, it's kind of easy.
But enough of the small talk. Who are those soldiers that just left?
I don't know.
A huge win for Dirge's story is bringing back characters from the previous games and giving them a larger role. Vincent, of course, was a secret character you never even had to get to beat the game. He had a few cool extra lines and he did react to Hojo after his defeat at the top of the Sister Ray, but nothing was really done with his character that was mega important to the story because, again, you didn't have to get him. Yuffie also never had to be recruited, but the circumstances of finding her led to most people finishing up her quest. But we get more of the characters that were in previous titles that you couldn't miss, at least a bit more of them. Reeve is my favorite of the characters here, besides Vincent. In 7, he was an idealistic Shinra employee that wanted to be good, got told to shut up and be evil, and when he learned that the main party of the game was actually working to save the world, he helped them. Also, voiced by Papa Nier.
We'll discuss this later. WRO troops have arrived and commenced rescue operations. We could use your help, Vincent.
Give my daughter back.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Now it's been a few years since the Genova War, and he put together a force called the World Regenesis Organization. His role in this game is torture porn victim. He gets his main base destroyed twice, cat robot blown to shit or sent to the Shadow Realm, has to deal with a man who doesn't know how to reassure people who are currently freaking the fuck out, but it also builds him up to be just so righteous of a person. After the mess in Calm and the first headquarters fight, Reeve grabbed everyone from 7 and set them on the path to getting rid of Deepground by striking at their base in Midgar. He might be foolishly optimistic, but he is entirely competent, and those organization skills might be what saved everyone at the end of the day. Shallua Rui isn't very integral to the story on the surface, I'll admit that. She was pulled from the Japanese-only cell phone game before Crisis, where she also didn't really do much. I do want to say something about her though, because her role is bigger than her fandom page would lead you to think. She kickstarted a lot of Vincent's woes over his past, and even turned one of the Sviets over to the side of good after finding out that her sister was one of them, leading to her sister, Shulk, using her skills to even the odds a bit even though she was seen as useless by other Sviets. Despite her personally not doing much, she was very instrumental in saving the world because of her connection to both a Sviet and knowledge over past Shinra experiments that involved Vincent and his power. And yeah, the big boys are here. Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Sid. Sid is back as the commander of the WRO Air Forces, and the Avalanche trio are frontline soldiers. The introductory cutscene for the reveal of these characters, it rules. I didn't know just how much I love these guys until I saw them again in official media. Fuck it, I'll say it again. The FMV cutscenes are the best part of the game. Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, and Vincent don't meet face to face, but over the phone they're a hoot.
Vincent?
Cloud. It's been a while.
Hey, could we maybe get the two quietest people in the franchise off the phone with each other and put anybody else on? So let's just talk about the story finally. One half of the game is focused on the current plot of stopping Deepground, and the other half are flashbacks to Vincent's past as a Turk, working alongside his obsession, Lucrezia Crescent, and professional rage baiter Professor Hojo. These flashbacks happen anytime Vincent gets knocked out or his state of mind is altered, which is a strangely large amount of time, but consider the franchise. Throughout the Deepground saga, which are the actual playable segments, Vincent travels to multiple places we've seen in the franchise before. Calm, Edge, Shinra Manor, Midgar, Shinra Headquarters. It's a great trip down memory lane, and especially the Manor/Midgar parts show off exact locations we've been to before. The manor proper, of course, and somehow it doesn't look all that shittier than it did in 7, and the train graveyard. Not designed exactly like it was in 7, but as soon as you land here, you just know where you are. Calm was just the beginning, but Junon and Edge were suck-drive any people there as well. Shulk accosts Vincent for something called the Protomateria, and Rosso and Edge makes mention of it as well before Vincent goes beast mode and transforms into chaos. Some people might not know of its role in Final Fantasy VII because it was also given as part of getting Vincent's ultimate weapon, but it was his final limit break. Chaos was given a much larger role in Dirge by giving it importance in both Vincent's backstory and a larger role as part of the world's defense systems, kind of like the weapons from 7. After making it through the manor, we find that the Sviet's goals are to summon a being known as Omega to cleanse the planet. That sounds bad. Shulk comes to the side of good throughout the story, and we learn that Chaos is the mechanism that will deliver life to Omega, and in turn, Omega will take all that life and deliver it to another planet. This will happen because the planet will summon Omega as a failsafe in case a large amount of life is being lost and the planet assumes, oh shit, something bad is happening. Let's just take everyone and move them somewhere that something bad isn't happening. That failsafe will be triggered by Deepground killing everybody they captured. We learned this in the very annoying stealth segment. And the only way to stop this is to invade the Deepground's base and stop this mass murder, making our way through Rosso, Azul, and down into Deepground proper. Here we find the leader of the Sviets and his annoying brother. Nero exists to help bring Vice back to life, who will in turn become Omega, but Vincent's understanding of the Protomateria and Chaos from his adventures stopped them from using both to destroy the world. So, remember how Hojo died? Yeah, he actually split his mind into pieces, put it inside the internet, and waited for his chance to put the pieces back together again.
And even though my body had died and the world had been left in ruin, I survived in a virtual reality. When the network was restored, the scattered data regrouped and I was reborn. A neo-reunion, you could say.
And now he's in Vice's mind so that he could become Omega. I don't know how to think about this revelation. It ties everything back to the fact that Shinra are a bunch of assholes who made bad, evil decisions years ago that are still terrorizing the world. He does get taken out of Vice by Nero, but this was his plan? Something that could easily be fallible by somebody not listening to him once? The internet in this game is basically the Electrosphere from Ace Combat 3, so why not have your goal to be complete human transhumanism? Just put everybody into the network. Omega could be the name of the internet and Chaos the name of the digitizing process. I feel like it would have been easier to do false flag operations than offer the mind to internet option as a way to get out of this horrible world instead of just trusting a bunch of traumatized vets. But I mean, you know, what the fuck do I know? My rewrite idea sounds like a shitty Kingdom Hearts spin-off idea. The Vincent flashbacks established that his father Grimoire and Lucrezia worked together before his death. Hojo shot Vincent thinking that he would actually have a conscience and try to stop his evil gene tinkering, but Lucrezia saved him out of respect for his dad. Her attempts to save his life also kind of led to his Chaos issue. Hojo saw Chaos and thought, oh shit, maybe I could become Omega and do some more evil. So everyone is a fuck up, but at least Lucrezia didn't do anything all that bad. Oh wait, she let the child she had with Hojo be experimented on and turned into Sephiroth? I feel bad for her. Lucrezia exists to be a monument to Vincent's guilt that he lords over himself at every chance. The one that got away but also experimented on you and fucked up your psyche, like a goth girl. Vincent fully takes on Chaos's power and stops Vice Omega. The Seven crew cries out to Vincent to save the day, and he shows that he actually kind of cares.
Vincent!
Guess I have no choice.
The world is saved again, and Vincent has a change of heart after Shulk arrives in her clothes that she got from the stupid store. He's going to shed his past and live in the now. That's the ending. It's heartwarming to know that Vincent only wanted to understand himself, and now that he has a grasp on his power and why his past was so fucked up, he can cope with it, even without Lucrezia coming back. With the help of Cloud and company, he can go back to a semblance of normalcy. And then Gact as Genesis shows up to take Vice away because
we still have much work to do. My brother.
Why does he sound Spanish? Let me just say this now. This cutscene goes nowhere. What does Genesis do with Vice? No clue, but it's mimicked when Vice picks up Genesis and Crisis Core. That's cute. This was only here to tease Genesis for the upcoming Crisis Core release, and there is no canon media that takes place after this event, besides the Red 13 scene at the end of 7. You only get this ending for collecting all the G reports in-game, so I guess this might have been awesome for someone playing in 2006. Speaking of Red 13, where were you during this, dude? This wasn't just one battle, this is a war, there was shit going on. It seems that in this post-remake world, we're getting a lot of information that originated in this game thrown into the remakes, like with Deepground and Intergrade and the Yuffie segment in Rebirth. I think that once the third remake comes out, a lot of this game will be made irrelevant by whatever moment they're going to shoehorn these guys into, or just a straight up full mobilization of Deepground to assault the Northern Crater. I'd be down for that. It sounds like a fanfiction I wrote when I was like 12. Aside from the story mode and the multiplayer that Westerners weren't allowed to make precious memories in, there are some special missions to play, but they aren't all that great to me. They're challenges that give you another couple hours of stuff to do. I played a bunch and I don't feel like touching them anymore. So what do I think about the game? I think the gameplay is fine. Bosses were a little easy, but I wasn't outright bored of them happening. I wish there was a little more to the game than fighting an easy boss and going through levels where all you do is shoot the same enemies in similar hallways. But I didn't notice any terrible glitches, and the only lag I felt was from emulation. Look, I own the game, but it looked like shit when I tried to record it off a retro tank. See, here it is. What the fuck is this? The only big issues I can shit on are the fact that Deepground is kind of boring. I didn't care for the Sviets besides Shulk and maybe Rosso, but that's just because she was hot. The Hojo appearance didn't invoke anything in me. I was just trying to comprehend how he came back and when he turned himself into Digidoctor. I do love everything Vincent learned about himself. He was extremely unlucky dealing with Lucrezia and Hojo, but turned that pain around and learned he could actually be something. Like I said at the beginning, this is Vincent's backstory while also being a sequel. And for the stuff we learn about V-Boy, I can't say I hate it too much, just don't expect anything more than that. I love you, Rosso.